First, we log in as the NVIDIA Cloud Partner, the NCP admin, or the GPU as a service admin. And as the admin, the first thing we do is add hardware to our inventory. We are going to onboard an already provisioned MGX GH200 Grace Hopper server. So let's go ahead and onboard it. And now you see that we can view the hardware inventory. At the top, there's a summary. And further down, you can see details of each of the nodes that form the GPU cloud for the NCP. Now we create two NCP tenants. So these are the actual users of the cloud, the GPU cloud. So we just created the first tenant. Now we'll create the second tenant. And now we are going to log out as the admin and log back in as tenant 1. And as tenant 1, we will be creating two instances, two GPU instances, and showing you how that works and how we can monitor them, etc. So we log in as the tenant, and now we are going to provision the first GPU instance. So we give it a name. We pick the flavor, H100, and the rest of the parameters are very similar to a public cloud, vCPUs, memory, operating system, etc. And once you make those choices, the node comes up, the GPU instance comes up. Now we'll create the second one. So we're picking Ubuntu 20.04. Again, an H100. So that got created. This is done on a live environment, so you can see how quickly they come up. Now we'll look at observability. First, let's look at the network observability for node 1. So here you see the public IPv4 address, the InfiniBand P key, private IPv4 address, and the VXLAN ID or VNI. And we can see additional KPIs on this page. So you can see all the parameters pertaining to the GPU. And now we are going to log out as tenant 1. So let's log back in as tenant 2. Tenant 2 is going to do exactly the same. We are going to create two GPU instances. And what's happening underneath is kata containers are getting created for each instance with the right GPU allocation. And we are getting full CPU isolation through kata containers, confidential computing. We are getting full GPU isolation through MIG. The network isolation happens using VXLAN, InfiniBand using P key, and we also have storage isolation. So all these instances across tenants are fully isolated. This is a very important point to be able to run a multi-tenant GPU as a service cloud offering. So we've created node 3 and 4. So node 1 and 2 belong to tenant 1. Node 3 and 4 belong to tenant 2. We'll see the observability aspects again. So KPIs, network parameters. Now what we are going to do is we are going to log into node 4, which is the second GPU instance for tenant 2. So we are going to log into it and then try and communicate with node 3, which also belongs to tenant 2. It's the first GPU instance of tenant 2. So since both the nodes belong to tenant 2, they should be able to communicate. So let's verify that. And they do indeed communicate. Now we are going to try and communicate with a node that belongs to tenant 1. And obviously that should not work. It would be a huge no-no if that communication happened. So let's go ahead and confirm that the communication across tenants actually fails. So we get the IP address for node 1, which belongs to tenant 1, and try and communicate with it. And as expected, the communication fails. And this shows how we created instances and how they're fully isolated.